SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing Week 14 in college football, and we're talking right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, who's covering 5 of the marquee games coming up this Saturday that I asked him to take. Joe, thanks for being back with us.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, Florida State, Florida. Before we get to it, give a plug for OffshoreInsiders.com.
Well, OffshoreInsiders.com, there's quite a few games, premium plays that we're going to go public with this weekend, both college football and in the NFL. Fantastic year, 26-year career. Joe Duffy's picks at OffshoreInsiders.com.
Okay, sounds great. Florida State, Florida, we know the deal with this game, right? Florida State, freaking awesome. Florida, complete disaster this year. Florida's a 27 or 27.5 point home underdog. The total is 44. But I can tell you right now, anyone who makes a case for betting Florida in this one, the basic argument that they're going to make is, at the end of the day, they're still the University of Florida. But then again, Florida State, they're not just one of these teams. They're not just one of these teams that's, getting big wins over cream puffs. They went into Clemson and crushed them by 37, and then very recently they crushed Wake Forest by 56 on the road. So with all the issues that Florida's having, in light of that, a 30-point win by Florida State would be completely par for the course this year. What do you think about these lines, Joe Duffy?
Now, a couple of the big rivalries we've done, I admitted that I wasn't madly in love with them, but this is a game that is almost certainly going to be a premium pick for me, and I am going to go with the favorite. And people have been with me for decades. No, I'm not a big fan of eating big chalk, but the circumstances certainly apply here. The argument that maybe a lot of people are going to give you, and I kind of teased in some of the videos we did earlier in the week, that this is a week where a lot of people are going to be on the wrong side of games because they believe in a myth. And that big myth, it's a big meme that goes around. A lot of people say, well, in a big rivalry, you got to go with the big underdog. You got to throw out the records. You got to throw out the point spread. And that is false. We've done a study on that. We've got some articles on the internet. But specifically as it applies to this series, the double-digit favorite is 5-0 in the series. So in this huge rivalry where so many people say, well, you got to take a big underdog in a big rivalry, that is 100% false. Florida State still needs some style points. Granted, if Florida State runs the table, they're almost certainly in the national championship game. But, if somehow Florida gives them a little bit of a game here and Ohio State does great against Michigan, maybe Ohio State could leapfrog them. So Florida State still has to get those style points. Jameis Winston also wants to solidify the fact that he is the overwhelming favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. And the numbers, you're right, are overwhelming. Now, granted, it's taken into account when in the big line, but Florida has 7 games in which it's thrown for less than 200 yards. Meanwhile, Florida State, Jameis Winston has averaged more than 200 yards passing in the first half of games alone. So this is a huge mismatch. And even though I'm not a big fan of laying the lumber, all the metrics say I'm going to lay the lumber here.
All right, I think that the argument that most people will make in favor of the University of Florida, like I said, is that they'll just say at the end of the day, they're still the University of Florida. They're going to be, gunning on all cylinders, giving whatever they have in the tank to not get blown out here, to salvage some kind of respectability from their season after losing outright to Georgia Southern last week. And so when you give, a desperate big program like that, 27.5 points, that's the argument. It's not just that they're an underdog in a rivalry game. It's they're an elite program as a huge underdog in a rivalry game.
No, they're not an elite program. They are the University of Florida in uniform only. This team was embarrassing. They've been humiliated this year. As you said, they lost to Georgia Southern last week. There was even a case where 2 Florida Gators were blocking each other, one of the most embarrassing plays all year. No, this is the University of Florida in name only. That job's going to be open real soon, Pete. I hope you don't apply for the head coaching job because you do a great job here at SBR Forum, but there is going to be a head coaching job in Gainesville, Florida opening soon. No, they are not still the University of Florida other than the uniforms.
All right, can't argue with any of that. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, like in Florida State, -27. Thanks, Joe.